Hello there, this is Benny.
And this is Kyle.
And you're listening to The Doctor's Watcher,
the cave enthusiasts podcast about every episode of Doctor Who.
We've had cave people, and now we are cave enthusiasts. I feel like we've missed the caves.
I was going to say, I feel like I might have used that intro before, but I didn't check my notes, so who knows?
Well, you can tell us, listeners. You can write us, get some audience engagement. But yeah, we've had caves in previous serials. I think most notably in the one with the cave people, and ever since we've been like, man, we gotta get back to these caves.
Yeah, got to go to the caves. Can't have a good serial without some good caves.
Yeah, I remember we hid, I think, from some Daleks in a cave at one point.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
and I'm sure there have been other caves as well. Oh, the one with the what was that creature called? The one that turned out to be the guy in the suit. And
where they picked up Vicky. Yeah, that had good caves.
Yeah, that had caves. Anyway, we're all about those caves.
Indeed. Have you been to any caves recently?
Not recently. I have been to caves in the past, and I like them. I mean, in addition to the bit that we're doing about liking caves, I do actually like caves. I enjoy them.
Yeah, me too. I have not been to one in quite a while either, though.
Well, maybe one of these days we should see what caves are nearby and we can do a little road trip.
That'd be fun.
Excellent. And what else have you been up to when you've been not going into caves?
Well, I actually have a whole long list of possible things I could talk about. Yeah. I'll pick one or two. So, one of the reasons why I have so many things to possibly talk about is because I am, at the moment, in between jobs.
Yeah.
I quit my previous job.
Congratulations.
I'm sorry
about the circumstances, but it's good that you got out of there and you found a new one.
Yeah. Unfortunately for our listeners, I did actually find a new one. So.
Otherwise, you would have just made Doctor's Watcher your full-time job.
But I took a couple of weeks off in between, and also, coincidentally, my partner happens to be out of town, so I have plenty of time to avoid doing household chores by playing video games and reading books and
Excellent.
stuff.
Are you still doing Baldur's Gate 3?
I have done some Baldur's Gate 3, but I've been actually splitting my video game time in my time off between Baldur's Gate 3 and a game your partner actually gave me for my birthday, Disco Elysium.
Oh, nice. So you had a chance to play that? How far are you into it? What day are you on?
I'm still on the first day, but it's like, I think, 8 p.m. or so.
All right, you're wrapping it up then, getting sleepy?
Yeah, just about done with the first day.
All right. Cool. What do you think so far?
It's pretty interesting. I'm enjoying it. I'm, trying to decide like how much of a sleazeball asshole my character is.
Do you know what type of cop you are yet? Your capo type?
I think in the character creation screen I selected sensitive.
But the capo type is something that comes out mid-game.
Oh, okay. No, I don't have a capo type yet.
Okay. All right, I'll be very, very curious to hear what you get.
Everyone, keeps seeming pretty surprised and upset that I lost my badge. So.
Yeah, that's a pretty major thing. When you're in the Revachol Citizens Militia, the RCM.
Yeah, I like to ask people, like, whenever they mention it, I'm like, wait, what's the RCM again?
Seems like something you should probably know.
Anyway, yeah, it's pretty entertaining so far.
Cool.
What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Well, we finished watching, I think in our previous episode, I mentioned that we were watching Wayward Pines, and we wrapped up the first season, but I think our enthusiasm kind of waned as the season went on. And at the end of the first season, we just kind of read the Wikipedia about the rest of the show. It lasted 2 seasons, so we just basically read the synopses of the second season episodes, and we were like, oh, yeah, maybe it's for the best that we called it when we did.
Nice. It always kind of feels gratifying when you make that sort of decision and then like it's confirmed.
Yeah, I saw that the first season did pretty well on Rotten Tomatoes and on Metacritic among critics, but then the second season took a big dip, and the synopsis, I guess, was that the second season didn't live up to the first, and I was like, yes, we made the right call.
Nice.
And speaking of making the right call, it's always the right call to watch Doctor Who and tell me all about it.
Indeed. And today I am telling you all about the 40th episode of season 3.
Nice.
Part 3. Part 3 of The Savages, also known as The Less Technological People.
Indeed. And Kyle, won't you tell us for season 3, episode 40, The Savages, or the less technologically advanced people, less technological people. Anyway, episode 3 of that serial. How'd you watch it?
This one was still a reconstruction, unfortunately.
Darn it. You said something I remember earlier that made me think that maybe one of these exists.
I mentioned earlier in the serial that I've been watching LC29, but this is actually Loose Cannon's second run at this serial. LC6 was also The Savages, but yeah, I guess at some point in Loose Cannon's later history, they went back and remade like a bunch of their early reconstructions.
Nice.
So yeah, LC6 was released in 1999 and LC29 was 2008.
Wow. Well, thank you, Loose Cannon, for not only creating our reconstruction, but creating 2 reconstructions to make sure that Kyle got the best experience possible.
Indeed. I am not even sure if LC6 exists or like how one would go about watching it if they wanted to. I only saw 29.
Cool.
Do you recall what the Cliff Dingler was?
The Cliff Dangler is that they are sucking out the Doctor's juice. They are draining his essence. And apparently there's quite a bit of it, we have learned. Those numbers keep going up. The person is, doing the opposite of what Daleks do. Daleks count down. But the scientist is counting up as the numbers indicating how much juice they're getting out of the Doctor just keep climbing. He's got a lot of life energy, it seems.
So we continue straight from there. As I recall, I think there were 2 guys counting at the end of the previous episode, but this one starts with only 1 guy counting.
Budget cuts. Shaking my head.
But he continues counting. He gets up to 7.1. He was the one counting the lower numbers.
Dang, 7.1. That's a lot.
Jano shows up. And, of course, Jano is like the head of the society, as I'm sure you all recall.
Of course. Our listeners are taking notes.
And the head of the lab, Senta, tells Jano that it was a perfect transfer. And he's confident that the Doctor will recover and they'll be able to use him again.
Oh, man, these guys are not good.
Jano points out that if they successfully sucked out the Doctor's life energy, that means that they can probably also drain the life energy of the Doctor's companions.
As it is, they are a danger to us, but as a source of energy, they could be of great value.
Wow. The political commentary or, social allegory or whatever we're getting here is not super subtle.
Yeah, subtlety doesn't really seem to be a strong point of Doctor Who.
No.
After dispatching some guards to go find Steven and Dodo, Jano tells Senta to prepare for an intransference, and because of the unusual and potentially dangerous nature of this experiment, Jano himself will be the only one receiving the Doctor's life force.
It would not be right to jeopardize the safety of any other members of the city. I will take full responsibility.
I don't buy it. He just wants that sweet, sweet Doctor life energy for himself.
Outside, Steven and Dodo are with the less technological people, who take them to the caves that they all live in.
Caves.
And the cave enthusiasts in the audience all perk up and, scoot forward in their seats.
Caves.
Steven and Dodo apparently are not cave enthusiasts, though.
Oh, shaking my head again, Kyle.
Caves? You live there?
Yes.
Like animals.
Like animals.
Man, not by choice, you guys.
Seriously. It seems, though, that the guards are apparently too scared to go into the dark caves, so it's a safe place for the less technological people to live in.
Okay.
They tell Dodo and Steven that the Doctor would have been used by now. And
oh, man, I like the ominous sound of that.
Yeah. If or when they find him, he's not going to be like they remember.
They leave us afterwards only a hollow shell of ourselves.
Dang.
Edel, who's captain of the guards, sends the guard Exorce to check the valley of the caves for Steven and Dodo.
Edel is laddie backwards.
Laddie and Sroxa.
Sure.
So there's a less technological person on lookout duty, and this person sees Exorce coming. And Chow, who's the old man who's leading Steven and Dodo, basically wants to take them into the cave system. One of the other less technological people, Tor, disagrees, because Tor thinks that the guards will follow them in and destroy the last safe refuge of the less technological people. But
yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah.
Tor sounds like such a classic cave person name. I wonder how many cave people have been named Tor over the years.
I feel like that name could have come right out of the one with the cave people.
Yeah. There's a very pulpy feel to it, too.
Yeah. Old Man Chal overrules Tor, though.
I am the leader, and I say they may go. Very well.
Our destruction will be on your hands.
Wow, no pressure.
So, yeah, Steven and Dodo basically go with the old man up the path into the caves.
Caves.
They get shown into the cave, and if they were not cave enthusiasts before, they are now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
They've come around to our side, the cave side, the right side.
They immediately start commenting on how amazing and beautiful it is.
It doesn't take long.
The less technological people all start chanting, caves. Chal explains that their ancestors were great artists, but basically everyone sucks now because of just the whole general situation.
Well, the whole general situation is a pretty reasonable reason to suck now.
Exors shows up outside the caves, and he shoots one of the less technological people with his light gun, which, as you recall, is sort of like a handheld tractor beam.
Mm-hmm.
And he asks the less technological person where the strangers are, and the less technological person glances over at the cave entrance.
Uh-oh, give it away.
And,
Cave it away, even.
Exors heads up toward the entrance as he starts chanting under his breath, "Caves, caves, caves, caves."
Oh, maybe there's a chance. We might still convert him.
Chow takes Steven and Dodo into one of the tunnels at the back of the cave.
Oh man, this is like on the first date too.
Yeah,
are we thinking like Steve Al, Chaldo? Shit, what was the OT3 name?
Steve Aldo.
Yes.
Nice.
I have tears in my eyes.
So the Steve Aldo ship is quickly constructed and sets sail deep into the tunnels at the back of the cave. There's apparently not another way out, like they're not heading for the secret exit or anything. Their whole idea is that there are multiple tunnels in the back of the cave, so maybe Exors will search the wrong one.
Yeah. I mean, they have limited options here, so I guess that seems like a reasonable course of action.
Exors comes into the cave, into the front main area, and Nanina refuses to give him any information.
Good.
But he, makes a couple investigation checks, does a couple intimidation rolls, and one of the other less technological people points him down the correct tunnel.
What the heck, other less technologically person?
Stevaldo continues down the tunnel. They are getting close to the dead end, and they can hear Exors. So they figure that their only real hope at this point is to get all the way to the very dead end of the tunnel and then hope that Exors doesn't go all the way.
Yep.
Maybe Exors will just explore the tip of the tunnel. I'm not sure if that metaphor quite works, but
let's just keep going.
Hey listeners, I just had my hard drive fail and I lost some files, including my Season 3 Doctor's Watcher template project files. So instead of the usual mid-rolls for the rest of the season, you're getting this one, reminding you to back up your data. Also, tell your friends about this podcast and leave us 5 stars and a nice review. Thanks, back to the show. So they get to the end. Steven starts shouting at Exors. He's basically trying to antagonize Exors into making a mistake. He also starts questioning Chow about what exactly Exors is likely to do when he reaches them.
Could have been the thing to find out before you started antagonizing him, but sure.
The old man, Chow, explains about the light gun, basically, and, its paralyzation effects. And Steven asks if the beam from the light gun reflects.
Oh, excellent. Always a good thing to find out.
Yeah, Chow thinks that it does. He's pretty sure he saw it, reflect off some water or something once. So
Very cool.
Steven accesses Dodo's inventory and gets the mirror that Jano had given her as like special civilization gift.
Yeah.
And he goes into a quick time event where he has to press the button on his controller at just the right time to hold up the mirror and reflect the beam from the light gun back at X-Source and paralyze him.
Yeah, if he does it on his first try, he's a better gamer than I am.
He does have to save and reload a few times.
Okay, I feel better then.
But he successfully completes the QuickTime event, and X-Source gets paralyzed and drops the light gun, which Steven then picks up and just uses directly on X-Source and walks him back up the tunnel.
So, like, I guess I'm picturing that this tractor beam on the light gun allows you to lift people up and hover them over the ground weightlessly while you can walk around with them and they're helpless. But there's no way that they were able to pull that off with the budget that they had. So I realize this is a reconstruction, but could you tell at all how they actually achieved this effect?
I think it was sort of a combination tractor beam / mind control array.
Oh, so they just got sort of walk.
So yeah, they just walk.
Okay.
Steven and Dodo and Chal walk X-Source, up the tunnel back to the rest of the less technological people in the front part of the cave, and they get X-Source tied up and, officially make him their prisoner.
Nice.
The less technological person who previously was super opposed to having Steven and Dodo around, Tor, seems to change his mind.
Tor's just a big fan of tying people up. He's like, all right, you two are okay in my book.
Uh-huh.
You can destroy the people of the city. They can destroy our enemies. The strangers must be gods.
Bro, I feel like you're kind of hot and cold there, bro.
Yeah, he's making some pretty big swings. In the lab, Senta has his technicians take the doctor to the guest apartments where...
I mean, you should use the technical term. There's elves.
Senta's elves, yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, that was the joke. I tried, Kyle. I'm doing my best.
They take the doctor to the guest apartments where he's going to be assisted and looked after. They don't want to just, release him out into the wild like they do with the less technological people.
to have to walk themselves out.
So after Senta's elves are gone with the doctor, Jano and Senta start preparing to do the intransference into Jano.
I feel like there's a better word for that than intransference.
Yeah.
In ingesting
energy beaming in of.
We'll workshop it.
Yeah.
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe there isn't a better term.
They don't want to tell anybody else about this experiment until they know the results. Jano basically claims that he doesn't want to worry the other people of the city or whatever.
Yeah, this dude's up to something.
So he steps into the intransference device and gets himself all situated and ready, puts on the helmets and whatnot.
I think our listeners deserve to know, Kyle, by any chance has Jano all along been, or I should say resembled, a young man in old man makeup by any chance?
It's a good question, but no, he seems to be just completely his own guy.
Okay. Continue.
So he gets into the device and gets all situated. Senta activates it We start to hear various sci-fi noises as the intransference starts to happen.
Excellent.
Back in the caves, one of the less technological people really wants to kill Exors. I'm pretty sure it was Tor again.
Oh man, this guy.
But Nanina and Chal disagree.
Okay, good. Nanina has a kind heart.
Uh-huh.
I think it seems that Steven might be staring directly at it right now. Well, he nudges Dodo and he's like, do we still have a packet of cocoa back on the TARDIS? Dodo's like, cocoa? I don't understand. I don't think either of us were here for that cereal, so this is bidding for work.
Steven's like, I heard it on some podcast that I listened to.
There we go. He has good taste.
Steven wants to try to go help the doctor, so the old man Chal agrees to show him how to get into the city.
Cool.
So Steven and Chal and Dodo all leave. The Stivaldo ship sails away.
Yeah, with maybe a longing look at the Ninivan ship.
And then Tor basically decides to take things into his own hands, and he swings his club at Exors, who's still tied up.
I guess they didn't really resolve that, did they?
But Nanina grabs his arm, and this basically softens the blow. So, Exors still takes a few hit points of damage, but it wasn't just like a direct, fatal blow to the brain.
This guy, man, I tell ya.
Tor goes off to sulk, basically. And
can drag his club off.
Puts his head down and sits in the corner.
Yeah.
Nanina tends to Exor's wound, which, again, is not too bad. It was just a few hit points.
Uh-oh, are we going to get the Naninors?
Nanexors? Exors recognizes her because, of course, in a previous episode, he took her into the city to get life force drained.
Yeah, and as we know, she's pretty memorable.
He asks her name, and so she tells him, and a little message pops up on Nanina's HUD saying, Exors will remember this.
Oh, interesting.
Chal takes Steven and Dodo through the jungle until they basically get to the edge of the jungle and they can see the city and the door that the less technological people exit the city from after they've been used.
I still don't like that term.
The guard who's posted outside of this exit is not really paying very much attention.
That's handy.
He is very easily caught off guard and gets paralyzed by Steven's light gun.
Nice.
Dodo collects the guard's light gun.
Nice.
And Steven basically asks Chal to drag the guard's body into the bushes so it won't be discovered, while he and Dodo head into the city to look for the doctor.
Very cool. That's how you do it.
Meanwhile, in the laboratory, the intransference finishes.
And what steps off the platform thingy?
It's still Jano. He's sitting in the chair. He seems pretty dazed for several moments. Senta has to help him to his feet and starts talking to him, but Jano interrupts.
What's all the fuss about? I'm quite all right. The trouble with you people on this planet is that you don't understand.
Jano? You belong to this planet. You're one of us.
Yes. Yes, of course. I'm afraid I'm not quite myself.
I find it interesting that he started with a
Jano refers to his young friends. And Senta's like, oh, Avon and Flower. And Jano's like,
Good gracious, no. Steven and Dodo, the child with the ridiculous name.
I remember when we were doing the Celestial Toymaker, they had a plan to get rid of old William Hartnell and replace him with another actor, so I wonder if this might have been another attempt to pull that off.
yeah, I was definitely thinking about that too, as all this was happening.
I guess we'll find out.
The conversation between Jano and Senta continues, and a few moments later, it seems like Jano is thinking of Steven and Dodo as the strangers again, not as his young friends.
Well, that didn't last long, unless it's actually the doctor's mind learning to fake it.
Senta decides to leave Jano alone so he can rest. And as soon as Jano's alone, he decides to smash up the equipment.
Excellent.
And so he like raises a pipe or whatever, a bar, some piece of metal, but then he stops himself before he actually does any smashing.
What's happened to me? What's happened to me?
Interesting. So there's forces at war inside him.
Steven and Dodo make their way up the exit corridor. Dodo is concerned about how easy it was to get in, but Steven says that they don't have any other way of rescuing the doctor.
Yeah, he's like, well, here we are. Even if it was too easy, what are we going to do, turn around?
But sure enough, we do cut over to Edal and Senta, who are watching Steven and Dodo on security cameras.
It really was too easy.
Edal calls on his radio for Time Traveler 1 to be taken to the end of Emergency Corridor U3.
You sunk my battleship.
Dodo, meanwhile, recognizes the corridor that she and Steven are in. This is the one that she was in a couple episodes ago. And she leads him to the T-junction ahead. And
I guess it's okay that we noticed that all the corridor sets look the same.
From this T-junction, they're able to see the doctor. So they call out, they rush over to him, but he's basically unresponsive. He's conscious, or, his eyes are open and whatever. He's standing, but he's not really speaking or moving or otherwise acknowledging them or anything else.
Would you say he seems like a shell of himself?
He does indeed seem like a shell of himself.
Uh-oh.
They, start kind of walking him down the corridor, but back in the control room, Senta pushes a button and a door in the corridor, a corridor door.
I was just about to say it.
Starts to close. Steven and Dodo both rush over to it and they hold the door open, but the door's motor is pretty strong. They can only hold it for, a few moments or whatever. And the doctor doesn't even make any attempt to head toward the door or even acknowledge that anything is happening at all. So
yeah, it's like eventually we're going to fail the strength check.
Yeah.
Can't just keep rolling high forever.
They don't really have any choice other than to just let the door close and head back to the doctor to try to take care of him.
Yeah.
Edal sends some guards into the corridor. He tells them to use destructive vapors as protection against Steven and Dodo's light guns.
Oh, that sounds intriguing.
And yeah, sure enough, Dodo and Steven start to see some thick smoke roll into the end of the corridor.
And the words on the screen say, Doctor Who, William Hartnell.
This smoke's rolling in. They can see people behind it. They do try shooting their light guns, but the light from the guns won't penetrate the smoke, basically. The destructive vapors are effective. So they have no way out. The smoke is starting to fill the corridor. Steven and Dodo start coughing and gasping and banging their fists on the door as the doctor just stares blankly into space with his mouth hanging open.
Dang.
And music starts to play and the credits roll.
Yep. Wow, what a predicament. How are our heroes going to get out of this one?
Indeed. The corridor full of smoke. What do you think, Matilda?
Matilda thinks that if a door's in the way, you just gotta yell at it until somebody opens it, obviously. Why didn't these heroes think of that?
Which, I guess they're banging on the door, but they're probably coughing too much to yell.
Oh, well, there's their problem.
Yeah.
Also, have they tried being a cat? That's probably the real source of their problems, is they're not a cat.
Yeah, being a cat generally helps with most things.
Indeed. Well, cool. An interesting episode. Like the caves. Enjoyed those caves.
Caves. Yeah, good episode for cave enthusiasts.
What notes did you have for us, Kyle?
I actually don't have any end notes on this episode.
Well, in that case, we'd like to thank Circuit 23 for the awesome theme music that he made for us. You can check him out on Bandcamp and SoundCloud, or email him at circuit.23@gmail.com. And what do we normally do next at this point? Thank you, Kyle, for watching Doctor Who and telling me all about it.
Yeah, I think that's right. And thank you, Benny, for listening to me talk all about Doctor Who.
And thank you, listeners, for listening to me and listening to Kyle talk about Doctor Who. We'd love to hear from you. Please email us at thedoctorswatcher@gmail.com, or remaining social media app, which, despite everything, still seems to be the most popular, at least that we've experienced for interactions. Messages there at Dr. Watcher.
I should probably make a Blue Sky or something at some point.
Yeah.
But
I think Instagram has more active users.
Yeah.
I don't know. IDK. Anyway.
Easiest to just email us at this point, listeners. So we'll probably get more socials at some point, but...
Yeah. And in the meantime, you can also leave us a 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice, or tell a friend. Well, in fact, and tell a friend. Do both, please. If you feel so inclined.
Indeed.
And hold your breath for the next 2 weeks. Don't want to get those... what kind of vapors was it? Or
destructive.
Don't want to breathe in those destructive vapors. And then we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Nina, do not worry, they are friends.
They helped me.
Beautiful. Like a little temple.
This is where we live. It is the one spot on this island which we can call our own. But
Who's made all this?
Our people have done it.
It's superb.
Our ancestors were great artists. As time passes, we are less able to do such things. Most of our talents are being taken from us. Only our faith remains, and that they will never take.
Look out, the patrol is coming.